Am I the only one who is sick and tired of being told to pick up my trash? And we have plenty of janitors who are paid to do it all.
Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Palantir. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us. You guys are the real MVPs. So lovelies, I came across this video on my For You and I thought to share where Asian Americans are all out for their own, and also given the reasons why they are all quiet. I came across this video right For You and I thought to share. I think a lot of people are so tired of these shenanigans that has to do with Stephen Miller, and they even go as far as to talk about how this mass deportation is of a beneficiary to him. That is why he's so invested in this mass deportation. Lovelies, I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment.
So the man ordering mass deportations is also making money off of mass deportations? Sounds like a crime to me. I vote that ICE come in, not identify themselves, body slam him in front of his kids, leave his kids on the sidewalk, and then deport him to another country. But he's a U.S. citizen. They've already deported 70 U.S. citizens, no problem. What's the problem doing it to him? You're doing it to other American citizens. If it's not okay to do that to him, then maybe it's wrong. Maybe we shouldn't be doing it to anybody.
Am I the only one who is sick and tired of being told to pick up my trash? And we have plenty of janitors who are paid to do it all.
That's young Stephen Miller, and he's always been an asshole. He's Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Advisor. He's also known as Trump's brain. Leaked emails show he's a white nationalist, which isn't surprising given that he's behind immigration policies like family separation and the Muslim travel ban. His emails show that in 2015 and 16, he promoted white nationalist books, websites, and conspiracies to editors at Breitbart, a far-right news site. More than 80% of the 900 plus emails reviewed focused on race or immigration, referring to the debunked conspiracy theory that non-white people are deliberately wiping white people off the planet. He referred to President Calvin Coolidge in his emails multiple times, backing his eugenics-based immigration policies once praised by Hitler. He was upset when some retailers stopped selling Confederate flags and symbols after the Charleston church shooting by white supremacist Dylan Roof, and encouraged Breitbart to create a counter-narrative. He often recommended articles from white nationalist websites like American Renaissance and Be There to highlight interracial crime. He pushed for coverage of The Camp of the Saints, a French novel loved by white nationalists for its racist depiction of non-white immigrants. He loves pushing false racist narratives so much that in 2017, as Trump's senior advisor, he reportedly blocked the release of a government study showing that refugees had a positive fiscal impact. But that's not all. He's friends with Richard Spencer, the most notorious white nationalist in the US. Spencer was a central figure to the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville in 2017. This guy went to high school with Miller and had a lot to say.
Stephen Miller was never bullied in high school. Stephen Miller was the bully. He bullied the kids who are already marginalized by our society, and he continues to do that from the White House today.
Breaking news, Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff to Donald Trump, has between $100,000 and $250,000 worth of Palantir stock in his child's account that has just been discovered. Why is this a big deal? Palantir is the company that ICE is using to help with all these deportations and with tracking immigrants. In addition, Palantir is the same company that they're now looking to build this massive tracking system for all of us using our personal data collected through Doge under Elon Musk. And this company is owned predominantly by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, who you may not know who he is, very involved with Heritage Foundation, with the far-right wealthy, is a billionaire. And he is the one who brought J.D. Vance into everything. He is the one that made J.D. Vance some of what he is, and definitely the one who put J.D. Vance where he is now politically. And all this is tied together, and it's needless to say always about money, but this was hidden in a child's stock account. And not quite sure how we found out about it, but it's breaking in the news as we speak now. So there you have it. Always money with these Republicans. If it's not money, they're doing something I can't say that. Something else they shouldn't be doing. We'll leave it at that. Love to my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. $100,000 to $250,000 of Palantir stock in his child's account. Try to hide it. Looks like to me. What do you think?
Hello, Trump voters. I'm Linda, and I want to talk about the things you voted for. Many of you tell me you are happy that Trump is locking up the dangerous criminals. You look me in the eye and proudly say, this is what I voted for. And if that were truly what was happening, I'd be on board with it. But for all the posturing Republicans are doing, that's not who they are concentrating on. ICE is holding about 56,000 immigrants in detention centers that are 140% above capacity. 65% of these people have no convictions at all. 93% have no violent convictions, mainly traffic or immigration issues. ICE even considers people whose charges were dismissed to still be a criminal for purposes of removal. Last fall, ICE knew the locations of 13,000 people convicted of homicide and almost 16,000 people convicted of sexual assault. That's a total of 29,000 criminals. Using the 3,000 per day quota, they should be able to get those criminals out of the country in about 10 days, if that were the point. But it's not. Do you know how many known rapists and murderers they have detained? 11% of known rapists and 6% of murderers. That means 94% of the murderers are still in our communities. Feel safer yet? You should. This is exactly what you voted for. Is rounding up immigrants at courthouses, the ones that are following the rules, more important than getting violent criminals off the street? Is meeting a 3,000 per day quota more important than getting violent criminals off the street? Is accidentally detaining U.S. citizens more important than getting violent criminals off the street? You tell me. After all, this is exactly what you voted for. Stephen Miller said to ICE personnel, quote, "What do you mean you're going after criminals? Why aren't you at Home Depot? Why aren't you at 7-Eleven?" unquote. Never mind that the time we spend detaining people at Home Depot and 7-Eleven is time we don't have to look for violent criminals. Now ICE isn't even pretending to be going after criminals. Instead, they're hiding behind their masks and waving their assault rifles around, detaining anyone they can find. ICE is hanging out in schools and hospitals, at farms and construction sites. They are rounding up children and decorated military veterans and caregivers and farm workers and military spouses and pregnant women and hospital patients and United States citizens. So stand tall and be proud, because this cruelty and fear is what you voted for. Bye. Have a nice day.
Put your phone down if you were worried about the stuff with Iran. Put your phone down, because you are being swept up in propaganda. Because there isn't anything to be worried about. Nothing more than there was last week or 2 weeks ago. And what this is doing is zapping all your strength, your time, your mental energy, your nervous system for what we need to have saved for protests, for actually taking care of things that are happening here that do matter, like people being kidnapped off the streets. That's where our energy and focus needs to stay every single day. We have to figure out ways to stop this as soon as we can. And you guys focusing on something that is a nothing in the scheme of things is exactly what he wants you to do. It's exactly what Stephen Miller wants you to do. They don't want you around their ICE guys because they're getting a lot of pushback. They don't like that. So they want you to worry about a war that's just a copy of another war that we saw before. In fact, 2 of them. The sleeper cells is propaganda that they used last time. It's a Bush-era tactic to make people afraid of the enemy within. And it manufactures more consent for when they want to do other stuff, and it gets people paranoid and scared and makes it feel like maybe we really should do something. But it makes all your focus go on to the news about Iran and what's going on with Iran that doesn't have a nuclear weapon to attack us with and couldn't if it did. Yeah, could they go after some bases over there? Yeah, but that's because we did something first. Does that impact you here? No. Are you stationed there? No. If you have a kid stationed there, then I understand that concern. but almost no one else does. They're not doing a draft. Would I get on a flight today and go somewhere on a vacation? I'd do it without a second thought. They're going to try and scare you about, be careful about flights, be careful about where you go, be careful, because they want you not thinking about what we need to be doing here. They don't want you thinking about the Gestapo and the goons kidnapping people. I told you starting a couple weeks ago, he has had the month up from hell. He's cratering. His party is splintering. Those leaders in there all have started their chess moves because they know there's blood in the water. He made an enormous mistake that he cannot take back. That's why you're seeing chess moves. That's why you're seeing all these leaders start coming out and being vocal. Tucker Carlson and even JD. Oh, we don't want a regime change. And all of a sudden Trump, well, why don't we want a regime change? They're all going to start trying to gather up their little groups and see who they can get to follow them. This is going to be a chess match you're going to be seeing from here on out now that the blood is officially in the water. Don't be a part of it. We have to stay focused on the people that we can physically help. Because again, we do need to devise plans on how to stop this. All of our energy and focus has to go into the things we can physically do. Can we call our representatives? Yes. Can we write letters? Can we protest? Yeah, we can do those things. And that's about all we can really do. And that's where we need to be focusing. I'm really stunned that people are being taken in by this, because this is, I don't like to use the word distraction, but this feels more like a distraction than anything he's done. There was no reason for us to be involved in this. I don't even care his reason for doing it. It could have simply been because people were telling him not to do it, because he's a big wiener. But he had such a bad month. I felt like he wanted to win, but he wasn't even brave enough to go all in. And now it sounds like he didn't even accomplish anything. And it sounds like they also made a diversion plan because they don't even trust him to not tell the plan on the news. So he's not even technically in charge of how they're doing the things there. So take a breath, take 10 breaths, calm, because we need an army here on our land, taking care of the people here. That is what we absolutely need. No more mind being put to this nonsense, because that is what they want. They want you completely focused on something that's made up and that you couldn't do anything about it if it wasn't. So if you're getting obsessed with it, please put your phone down for the day. Please.
Stephen Miller, one of the architects of Trump's harshest immigration policies, owns hundreds of thousands of dollars of stock in Palantir. Palantir is a government contractor that provides data analytics to ICE. Stephen Miller helped make ICE what it is today. Palantir's contracts with ICE are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Miller's investments in Palantir are worth approximately $200,000 to $250,000. So yes, Stephen Miller profits from the harmful system he helped create. This is exactly what a major conflict of interest looks like. So what do you think? Are you bothered by this conflict of interest or not?
Stephen Miller didn't just write a plan. He wrote a revenge fantasy. Project 2025 is not about leadership. It's about complete domination. It offers one simple bargain. Obey and you'll be protected. Disobey and you'll be erased. For a lot of people raised in authoritarian homes, communities, or churches, this isn't dystopian. It's not 1984 or Brave New World. This is business as usual, just lived experience. The voice that says you're safe if you submit sounds just like the one that they grew up with. And Miller knows that. He may not be a genius, but he's clever and cruel enough to know that the authoritarian bite matches the wound. And he is cruel enough to weaponize that wound. And the people clinging to that paradigm, they're not stupid. They're scared because they were taught that safety always comes with strings attached. And Miller, he's just the one who's now holding the scissors. I'm going to keep breaking this down, so follow for more. I am going down swinging.
Up there goes MAGA undermining their own deportation efforts. Guess little Steven here isn't going to get those 3,000 people a day that he wanted. Just look at this face. Again, I feel like I have to say this every time I make a video about this guy. Same age. Same fucking age. And he's looked like that since he was like 30. But in any case, he had pulled something like 2,000 FBI agents off of normal duties to embed with ICE to bump up those deportation numbers, and apparently expected that to continue. And all law enforcement has basically been turned over to focusing on deportation. Not since Donnie decided to get involved in Iran. Now those FBI agents are going back to their actual jobs, traditionally. Counter-terrorism. You know, maybe actually protecting the American public instead of harassing them and denying them due process so you can deport them to foreign extermination camps, which I guess the Supreme Court thinks is just fine. You can go ahead and deport them to countries that they have nothing to do with. Evil, evil motherfuckers. But can't blame anybody but Trump for this, MAGA. You're clearly never going to get to that 3,000 a day number that you guys fantasize about. Fucking losers.
Look, anyone who didn't know before, you know now. Stephen Miller is a dangerous, unhinged man who is dictating most of the policy in this country right now. The Wall Street Journal just did a report today that says Trump in private has said that if it was up to Stephen Miller, there would only be 100 million Americans in this country. Just let that sink in. There's actually, right now, about 350 million Americans. So Stephen Miller, if he had it his way, would get rid of 250 million Americans because they don't look exactly like him. Why is anyone voting Republican still? Like, what could you possibly support about this? I mean, okay, just take that on its face for a minute. Where are you going to put 250 million people? Most of them, you know, American citizens born in America. Where does he want to send them to? What Miller wants is the same thing that the mustache guy wanted back in Germany in the 1930s. That's what he wants. Only people with this color skin in this country. That's what he wants. Anyone who's voting for this has problems.
All right, I got more dirt on this Stephen Miller creep. Haven't seen anyone else talk about this, and I think Angelinos are going to find it very interesting. He's the White House Deputy Chief of Staff and the architect behind these wicked ICE raids. Here's what I found out on Wikipedia. He was the vice president of a company owned by his family. They own a bunch of real estate, and I went looking at where that real estate's located. They own residential properties in Latino neighborhoods in LA County under the name California Villages. They own properties in Pico Rivera and West Covina. 2,500 residential units throughout Los Angeles County. Now, the reason I say dirt is because this man has designed a very xenophobic, racist program, and yet he was renting out to Latinos in LA, and this program has its fiercest operation in LA. Go check out some of the Google reviews yourself. Look at this one about roach infestation. California Villages. You're telling me this guy is a slumlord from LA? I can't believe it.
Stephen Miller is poised to make a fortune off of Trump's mass deportation agenda. According to Miller's brand new financial report, he bought between $100,000 and $250,000 in stock in Palantir, the surveillance tech company that's helping Trump carry out mass deportations. If you're not familiar, Palantir was created by right-wing billionaire Peter Thiel and named after the Seeing Stones in Lord of the Rings, which should piss off any Tolkien fan. Stephen Miller, Trump's chief Homeland Security advisor, bought the stock in Palantir after Trump left office, while he was still outlining Trump's mass deportation plan, and since then Palantir has raked in more than $900 million in government contracts. In fact, Palantir has become the top performing company on the S&P 500 in 2025, surging more than 80% this year alone. And just last month, the Trump administration tapped Palantir to build a massive database that will serve as a surveillance tool for the US government, storing our personal information, medical data, bank account numbers, and disability status. And we already know what Trump wants to do with it: use it to hunt down immigrants and punish his political enemies. That's why labor unions and civil rights groups have filed lawsuits to block it. Last month, more than a dozen former Palantir employees even signed an open letter to Silicon Valley urging them to resist the Trump administration's techno-authoritarian power grab. And here's the kicker. The guy helping design the policy behind Trump's mass surveillance state, Stephen Miller, stands to make a fortune off of it. Because who says that fascism can't be profitable?
This internet, or especially pan-colored people, are reacting to the fact that it is discovered that Stephen Miller is actually benefiting from this mass deportation. Like, is this the reason why he is so invested in deporting people? Is it the reason why he talked about if it was to be him, he's going to make America look like people that looks like him? Like, he said it and he actually confided with Orange Man, and Orange Man was like, if it was to be in Stephen Miller's place, he's definitely going to deport everybody except for people that looks like him. He don't even mind if it's going to make 10,000 million or 1,000 million Americans, but let them just be specifically people that looks like me. It also happens that this man has always been behind all of the policies that Orange Man has been putting out in place. He's behind the massive mass deportation because he's actually benefiting up from it. Is it the reason why they keep on deporting both documented and undocumented? It was actually said that these deportation were supposed to focus or get affected to people who are criminals, who are undocumented, who came illegally. Like, with all of the things they talked about mass deportation during the election thing. But right about now, what we are seeing right now is massive deportation. It does not even matter if you are a citizen or not. So far, you are someone of color. Especially, it's as if they targeted these Hispanic, Latino people, and that also brings me to the question of why is it that most of these Mexican Hispanic people saw all of the handwritings of the world, but they actually chose to get themselves deported. I've seen so many of them like, okay, we didn't vote for this, we voted for mass deportation. Like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? You know the kind of person you want to put in the office. You know his background. He knows exactly what he's capable of doing. He even have to come out to spill. He have to come out to spill his policies and how he wants to run his thing. And now he's doing exactly, he's even doing more than what he has promised. People are like, oh, this is not what we voted for, having emotional breakdown, people getting deported and all of that. But forgetting the fact that you have the chance to always choose the kind of life you want. But because you thought that, oh, maybe this present administration was coming for people that looks like him, even if they are coming because they have been trying to create some baits to get people that look like me to react, but they are unreactive, which is making everyone so uncomfortable. Like, now it happens that this man is actually behind all of the things going on, is profiting. Like, people decided to actually dig more about his history. They find out that he's actually a bully, and he used the office to also bully people. Like, seriously, Lovelace, seriously. It was also said that this man is also behind the Project 2025. Like, the thing is that I get a little bit pissed anytime Project 2025 is mentioned, because I can actually remember vividly when the issue of Project 2025 was something to talk about. That was before November. And people are like, oh, Orange Man have nothing to do with the Project 2025. Orange Man himself even decided, like, oh, what is Project 2025? I don't know who wrote it. Like, meanwhile, this has always been the project. And most of the things that is happening right now is just everything that has to do with Project 2025. I'm not going to talk about the adoption plans. Like, oh my goodness. Anyway, lovely, so now just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. When I saw this and I saw the way at which people are like, oh, so this man is all bent on this man's deportation because he has some beneficiary on it. That's why he don't even care. He don't care if America is filled with people that looks like him. He don't even care like the 1 million Americans or 1 billion. I don't know how the number he actually chose, which I still care. It's just going to make his day. He will go any length to do that. When you see desperate people, they go up with desperate measures. So if he's going to take deporting every single one, he's going to do that. And people should really watch out. Anyway, lovelies, and just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. Please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. If you've not been following my backup page, Belinda Verse, please do your girl a huge favor to check it out. I post some of the stitches I can post here on Belinda Verse, and I will see you lovelies when I upload you on the next comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. So lovelies, if you've not subscribed, do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.